Hi, and welcome back. Today we're on day 5 of building our business in 30 days with AI. And now we are going to really get into the meat of a new product. We spent the last 4 days building up the foundation and also determining what product we're going to build. And today you're going to get a taste for the product that I have chosen, which is called Yield Cover. And it is a crop insurance estimator tool. We're going to jump right in and we're going to talk about the business case for Yield Cover today. And you can kind of use this as a guideline for your own business case. All right, our decision has been made. We are going to begin developing the Yield Cover application. Let's go over why we chose this as our newest product that we are going to develop. Today, we're going to cover what is the business need for Yield Cover. What is the value that we bring to customers through Yield Cover? What is the segment or total addressable market that we might be able to eventually utilize with Yield Cover? What is our product instinct around why we should develop Yield Cover now? What is the customer value that it is actually bringing? So we do have the business value, and it's really tied to the customer value in this case. You'll see like number 2 and number 5 up here. That is because our business doesn't have any other app or anything to speak of other than this app. So this is our first one. So business and customer value are very closely tied. And then we're going to talk a little bit about brand fit. If you're going through this exercise with your own business and you're looking for a new product to develop, the time that it will take you to probably get your mind around this through discussions, through discovery, etc., is probably in the neighborhood of days to weeks, depending on how familiar you are with what you're looking to develop. What is Yield Cover? Yield Cover is a crop insurance estimator tool for farmers and crop insurance companies / agents. Don't necessarily want to bucket everyone into being a crop insurance agent yet at this point, but it's definitely the farmer side, which is the customer of the crop insurance company. Excuse me. So what is the problem? There are 2 sides of the coin here, and each side has problems. So the farmers have problems and the insurance agents have problems with their current workflows. The farmers have an inadequate set of tools and understanding of what they can actually utilize in their crop insurance. There are also tight timelines on policy enrollment. Generally, about 15 days in the month of March is the only time that farmers are given to be able to enroll. So they need to take information in very quickly and be able to utilize it and make decisions within that time frame in order to secure insurance for the crop year that they're looking to insure. Most of their communication today with the insurance companies is manual. So it's usually phone or email until they get the official quote. But the back and forth is a lot of phone and email. On the insurance agent side of the house, there are a lack of customer tools. It appears that most major insurance providers in the United States do not have a publicly available tool, although some do behind a login. Again, there are tight timelines on that policy enrollment. So if you think about a customer who's looking to enroll during a very tight timeline, you as the agent are having to send them copious amounts of information going back and forth. That is very time consuming when you have to generate new documents for every change and you have to explain all of that for every single change. Again, it is the manual communication aspect that they also have a problem with, because it's all phone and email generally during that time period, and they are spending long hours trying to get back with their farmers and explaining everything during a short time period. Also, there's a low likelihood of switching agents. Because the farmers don't really have a way to reach out to new agents in a structured format, the idea that a farmer is going to switch agents from year to year is actually very low in this demographic. So by providing tools to them, we are hoping that the farmers can increase their reach and that the insurance agents can increase their reach. So what is the value? The value to the farmers is the better decisions they make around crop insurance, the more it mitigates their risk. So it mitigates their risk of losing money when they purchase crop insurance. The farmers also want to gain an understanding and do this in an automated way that's not a back and forth way of what is their best insurance option for their organization. They want to have a partnership with the insurance agent. So farmers do not want to just go online and click a button and hope for the best. They actually want to have a human relationship, and we would hope to be able to connect them in that way so that they can have the relationship, but that the data does not need to be a manual back and forth. And they also want to reduce costs to the extent that it's feasible for them to still manage their risk. So if they are over insuring, they are paying too much potentially for what is possible in their area as far as events that would constitute a crop insurance event. So they could potentially reduce costs with the use of a tool. However, that is not one of their main values, because their number one value for any sort of insurance tool is to mitigate their risk. The insurance agents, on the other hand, want to increase revenue, and they would do that by gaining customers. They can reduce that inefficient communication that they do today, and they could have a lot of the communication be automated, but still have that personal touch at the end or, throughout the process, but they don't have to actually manually be creating documents and data for the farmers. And they want to expedite that policy enrollment. All of these things actually roll up to increasing revenue for the insurance agents. So expedited enrollment means more happy customers, more communication means more happy customers, and all of that leads to increased revenue for insurance agents. So what is the yield cover segment? There are approximately, on the left here, you can see that there are approximately 2 million farms in the United States. Now, that's going to include row crops, vegetables, fruits, nuts. It is going to include a lot of different segments. We are narrowing this down to a much smaller segment for our initial use case, which is corn, soybeans, and wheat farms. And those are row crop farms, accounting for about 330,000 farms in the United States, depending on what sources you have looked up. Now, the cash receipts on these farms, which we can kind of loosely start to tie to their revenue, which cash receipts are not revenue, but we can start to loosely tie that, is $267 billion in 2023 was the U.S. crop cash receipts. And 144 billion of that was corn, soybeans, and wheat. These are the three largest row commodities that generate the most revenue to farmers in the United States. That is why we are using this, because these three segments, because they have an outsized value and an outsized impact. And that means that they will be a better target group than just kind of going for every single group of farms or farmers in the United States. And the last reason here is that in these three commodities, approximately 90% of acres are insured under federal crop insurance. So that means that approximately 90% of those commodities have some sort of a crop insurance contract, which means that they could also be open to using new tools to help them with that information. This is why we chose this specific segment for yield cover to start with. In our last discussion, we talked about our product instinct. And you'll remember that I talked about Marty Kagan, and he has 4 main pillars for whether or not a product is a good idea. I'm using that in air quotes. The yield cover product instinct. So a few things here. You could see that I have highlighted whether or not it is a valuable product. I definitely already think that this is feasible. So in the upper right-hand corner, do I think I can build it? Yes. Do I think it will be usable? Also, yes. Do I think it's viable as a product? Since it's feasible and it's usable, I think it could be viable. Now, does it add a lot of value? I think that is remain to be seen. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why right now. We're going to bring up actually another document that I actually frequently use to chat about this with some of my clients. Bear with me for just a moment here. And this is how technology actually serves business. Okay. And the problem with a product like Yield Cover, let me share my screen again here, is that Yield Cover is more of a compliance tool. So there are three main reasons that people being customers or businesses will spend money on technology: to increase their revenue. You could see that he's very happy. You're very happy if you can increase revenue. Decrease spending. Definitely happy if we can decrease our spend. Improve processes. We can definitely be very happy and we can monetize on process improvement because we can prove that, we saved hours, we saved days, we saved widgets, XYZ. Compliance requirements is not as excitable as a topic, okay? Businesses must do some sort of compliance requirements to stay in business. So publicly traded companies have to abide by Sarbanes-Oxley. Most of our tech businesses have to become SOC 2 compliant. In this case, farmers really have to engage in crop insurance because they need to protect the revenue or the yields of their business. This is not something that they're necessarily doing because it's actually making them more money or even saving them money. It is actually more of a pain point. It is a good thing, but you get more mixed signals on things like a compliance tool. So that's one reason why I am questioning the value. And that's why we're going to go on and we are going to discover this together with Yield Cover. And we're going to discover the value that may or may not come out of it. So let's flip back over to the Yield Cover app application information here. And we talked just a little bit about our value question marks. And I am going to add a couple of other notes here before we continue on with the value. Now, in developing a true business case for an enterprise organization, you need a lot more information than I have included in here. But we are a startup. We are developing this product with one team member, 2 or 3 if you count AI, and we have a lot more chances at bat than an enterprise organization. We do not have to prove how many development hours this will take because it's not costing the company any money. We do not have to prove that this might actually be monetizable because, again, that it's not costing money. We are doing this really fast. We are going to iterate very quickly, and we are going to learn as we go. In a real organization, we would create a much more detailed business case with a lot more, strategic alignment to the company's overall goals. We don't have to do that for Yield Cover, nor do you have to do that for your product. If you are on your own and you are trying this for the first time, I would not get mired in the details. I would give it a go. We're only giving this 30 days. We're not giving this 3 years. So give it a go. If you have an instinct that it will work, let's give it a try. So here is a little bit about our path to value and what we want to get to for the customer value. So what do we want the benefit to be for Yield Cover to our customers? We want the farmers to be able to mitigate risk. We want the insurance agents to be able to increase revenue by securing and educating their clients. We want both farmers and insurance agents to engage in process improvement and increased efficiency, which will, of course, roll up to the above. And we want farmers to have more efficient use of their insurance and capital, which can run along with saving money, but it could also run along with spending more money. So if they're not insured to the highest level, and they should be, they might be spending more money. There are a lot of benefits to using yield cover, and we are going to learn about them and validate them along the way. The last piece I'm going to chat about today is that yield cover is a good brand fit for the parent organization, Strategic Consulting Corp. Yield cover is something that generally would fall under the expertise of the larger organization, which makes it more credible and more realistic to come to fruition. Strategic Consulting Corp has agriculture and commodities expertise, also a background in compliance and insurance expertise. While crop insurance is not one of my main domains, I am an expert in other types of insurance, such as trucking insurance, which is used by many or potentially most farmers as well. We have AI and technical depth to actually execute this. We have developed many trusted software solutions, which are utilized by agricultural, commodities, and logistics organizations. We're familiar with process optimization. We have a lot of industry insights in the agriculture space, which can help to back up the presumptions of yield cover. And we want to be user first in our design, because we know that farmers will want to be utilizing this on their phone, on the go, in a very tight time window in the spring when they need to engage with this product. Well, we've come to the end of our business case for yield cover. If you have any questions about anything more formal, if you have a larger organization initiative and you need a template or you need help developing materials for that, happy to help. But if you're a startup, I recommend you do what you can and hit the ground running. The more chances you take, the more opportunities you will have to build a product that is usable, and that you never know, the next one could come out of an idea for this one. So thank you for following along and learning about yield cover with me today, and I will see you next time.